Good morning from whatever day this is in Santiago, Chile. Another great day today in the city, and figured I'm back at that Mercado mall that I was at the other day, and figured I'd take you guys to a restaurant visited by Anthony Bourdain called Fuente Alemana, which is German fountain in English, translated, and it's supposed to be pretty popular with some really good sandwiches like the lomito, which I had the other day, and it's absolutely massive. So I figured I'd try that place to try for lunch. And then also tonight I'm doing a street art tour of Airbnb experiences with a local guide, so that'll be good. I don't know, it looks like I might be the only person there, so it could be my own private tour. So should be a lot of good stuff today, a lot of good content, and yeah, first step is lunch. So let me try to find out where I'm going, and I will take you there. So vamos. And I don't know where I'm going, so we gotta figure that out too. I went the wrong way. A funky building. It's like a little Plaza Mall thing there. This is apparently a hospital, Metropolitano. Looks like a prison. Maybe it's closed. Those guys are funny. Yeah. Shout out to those guys, man. Just down this way, guys. Fuente Alemana. What a neighborhood. Really interesting. Mr. Hotel. Where's the Mrs. Hotel? Okay, I'm gonna put the camera away when I get inside because I don't know. I haven't think about bringing a camera inside a restaurant. And I'll take some stuff on my phone so you guys can see a little bit of like the action and if it's worth your time or not. Fuente Alemana. All right, time to go inside, so vamos.
That's Lomito. It's humongous. Restaurant.
Well, it was a really good sandwich. It's just, like, they're so massive to eat. Like, first of all, it's kind of like covered in guacamole and mayonnaise and all kinds of other things, so like the bun gets like pretty slippery, so it's hard to hold. And like the sandwich is massive, so it's actually hard to eat. So I mean, they're good. It's definitely a mission to complete the task. But yeah, shout out to that place. Anyways, back on the main strip, and we're gonna see what we see. Tour is at 4:45. It's like 1 o'clock. Maybe get a coffee. Maybe not. But it is a great day out. Like, those sandwiches are filling. Like, you're not hungry. You ain't hungry after that. You ain't hungry after eating that lomito. I'll tell you that much. Church over here. Well, guys, I made it back to the MUT, the MUT. Well, guys, I'm at the meeting spot at the Max Center, Bella Artes, Museum of Contemporary Art, I guess, and just waiting for the dude to show up. We're gonna get this tour underway. I might be the only person on this tour, so it's kind of like a private tour. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, should be starting in about half an hour, so let's see if he's cool to be on camera or what's the deal. So, vamos.
But in general, it's a beautiful city. So I love the contrast.
It is a beautiful city.
A little bit of context. The story of Bellavista. So basically, Bellavista was configured more or less towards the last days of the 1800s. The beginning of the 1900s, there was a neighborhood that was populated by immigrants and workers. We are going to be trying to catch the shade
Yeah.
as much as we can.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about Bellavista is that there's a lot of breeze.
Yeah.
So even though it's sunny, we're going to be having some breeze. Look at this wonderful, colorful street where each mural, each house, each wall is a different artist.
Wow.
All this started in 2017 when Gonzalo Matiz, the main artist that we're going to be learning from today, came to live in this area, and he had a dream. He wanted to paint the whole street with his murals, like building up a gallery of his own. But unfortunately, back in the day, he didn't have the money. And not all of the neighbors wanted to have a mural. There was a lot of discrimination and people thinking, no, this is not really that good. This is not really real art, and they were skeptical about really having a mural. But it all changed more or less 1 year ago, October 2024, when Gonzalo changed his mind and decided to create a murals festival, to found a murals festival, Vamos al Bella Fest. So he decided to, with his own money, to found this murals festival. Basically, he provided water, sushi, pizza, and basic color paintings that he had, deal with local manufacturers, so he could have some of those acrylic paintings, facade paintings, and some spray cans. But basically, he invited over 15 different artists, friends of him that showed up, and during a weekend, only 2 days, they painted the whole street with
One weekend?
murals.
One weekend they did it?
Whoa. So here we can see it. Each wall is a different artist. I will be stopping for some of them, so I will be highlighting the stories behind, so we can learn more about what inspired. I will start highlighting this one. This is Vanessa Ilustración. I really love this mural. You may wonder why.
Okay.
Because this is a female artist that represents a big group of women that are doing street art in our city and in our country. But this was not something that would be happening like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. By the way, murals started to being painted here in 2017. So it's very recent, less than a decade ago.
Yeah.
And our society has changed a lot. So this is a reflection of how much the street art scene has changed here and how much our society has changed from a very conservative one to a more open-minded one, where the rights of women, the LGBT community, diversity, the environment, the animals are very important, especially for younger generations, reflecting a diverse and open-minded society. So Vanessa is doing a bold statement. She is creating a self-portrait where she's stating that she's proud to be a woman and a graffitier. Something that 20 years ago, 30 years ago would be impossible for two reasons. First of all, until 2024, Bellavista was dominated by male artists. So it's very interesting because Bellavista has always been the home for diversity, has always been the open-minded neighborhood, but mainly men were painting. So Gonzalo decided to invite women so it could be more equal, showing equality. And she probably would be like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, no, you cannot do that. You cannot enter the street art scene. This is only for men. And families would be like, no, you have to be a lady. This is not good. Go to the kitchen, go to have a family, go to have children, but you cannot be on the streets. And if you are, also you're a drug addict, you're like a hooker or something like that, you're a prostitute, you're on drugs, aren't you? So all those stigmas have been forgotten, and now women are free to be part of
A lot of talent. A lot of talent.
Yeah, so I really love how feminine it is, with her braids representing all the street culture, and the two spray cans, like very, very confident of herself, very proud of representing how women are also part of the street. Same family that owns the house with the green face. So basically they live there.
Yeah. They live there and they work
and
here.
they work here.
Oh, wow.
So here we're going to see the main characters of Gonzalo. Always the main character is a woman, standing woman, or the face of a woman with a highlighted eye. In this case, it's a standing woman. And if we take a closer look, we're going to see that his characters are always surrounded by an aura. And that aura represents the soul of the character, the heart. And if we take an even closer look, we're going to realize that that aura is holding a glass of wine and has a hand, so it's a masculine figure. So it's her counterpart. Basically, Gonzalo is always about representing the duality of life, marriages, couples, men, women, the relationship between men and women, and love. And basically, more or less, back in the day, he was super in love, so he was very motivated by this kind of characters. She came up with the idea of some blueprints so she could have some inspiration for this mural. And the early morning when she arrived on Saturday morning to start painting, she was not sure about what to paint. And she was kind of like thinking about this craft and blueprints that she had, inspired by something that happened here in 2024. And even until today, 2026, is still being discussed in our Congress. It is banning dog racing.
Dog racing?
Dog racing.
Oh.
So in 2024, there was a project where the Parliament, the Congress of Chile, didn't not want to approve it. Because they said, no, you know what, this is kind of like still sport, so it's not that bad. But many people were disappointed because for many people here it means animal cruelty. So it's not okay to do something like that. It's not good. And she was also inspired by a passed away friend of her that passed away in 2023 that was an activist. So the early morning when she arrived, she was not really sure about what to do, and she saw how the other street artists were painting, and they started painting their murals. And then she was looking towards that corner, and she saw a man walking a dog towards her. And she was petting the dog, and then she felt something like, maybe this is a signal that I should paint this. And so she decided to go into that direction, and this is the wonderful result. It's giving us the message that we should be treating animals with kindness, with love. And we should be respecting the animals and treating them as friends. Very important, because when the Murals Festival happened, Gonzalo was all about, organizing, hosting the Murals Festival, making sure everything was going right, like getting the water, the pizza, the sushi, and coordinating, organizing all, the logistics. So he had few time actually to paint. So he was the only one of the few ones actually painting after the Murals Festival ended. But this was a very interesting and important role for him, because back in 2017, he painted his former girlfriend here.
Oh, wow.
So he decided to renew the mural. Originally, he painted his girlfriend surrounded by this yellow flower, the sunflower, to represent his love for her. He graduated as a digital illustrator, a technical graffitier, and he told me that one day he was like, I can't take this anymore. I'm not happy about it. I don't want to work here. I don't want to be in an office. I want to go to the streets. I want to paint murals. So he decided to close his laptop and paint.
Hey, quit.
And that was the beginning of him coming to live here and painting murals. And today is one of the most requested, successful graffitiers, muralists.
He's the best.
Respected by the community, and is one of the few that lives only from painting murals.
That's how he lives.
Yeah, so basically he's mostly painting for restaurants. Like in the Costanera Center, they opened like 2 months ago. Faya is a painter. Inside of the street art scene, I have learned that, the painters sometimes, not specifically Faya, but some painters, not really in this area, but around the city, would be like, oh, so you paint those kind of things. That's not art. Well, we are the artists, because we can paint faces, we can paint characters, and we went to high school, so we went to the university, so we are highly trained fine arts oil painters, like Faya. His real name is Fabian Amaya. So Fabian Amaya Faya, like fire. He is very renowned. He's no longer living in this area. Now he lives in Barrio Italia, the Italian neighborhood. Okay. But was invited by Gonzalo to paint. So when I met him in person, we were shaking hands, and I was straightforward, like a kid asking him, like I always do with all artists. Tell me the meaning behind your mural, the inspiration. I want to know what's the story. And he was looking at me, and he looked very sad. He looked terrible. And he was like, you know what? I'm heartbroken, I'm destroyed, I'm trashed.
Yeah.
Because I recently ended a relationship that was very important for me that lasted 8 years.
Oh.
And I'm broken inside. And I think that I lost a very important person, and it's going to be forever. So it's for the very first time himself with his very own facial features, shading his eyes. Later, we're going to see another mural of him, where we're going to see his alter ego. Usually he paints Captain Fire, which is a very strong, big, very, powerful man. Instead, he was more humble. He has always been experimenting with this Spanish conquistadors and the samurais' armors. So he's giving us the message that when we're heartbroken, when something bad happens, when a tragedy strikes, and we lose something very important or someone very important for us, we have to put an armor to keep fighting. We have to dress like warriors to fight and keep going on. So it's himself with this armor, with an improvised weapon, fighting for his little heart, using or wearing a shield where we can read, nothing lasts, and a sad face. Actually, that's the name.
Nothing lasts. Okay.
That's the name of the mural. Nothing lasts.
Oh.
And I was like, very thankful. So I was like, man, thank you very much for opening your heart to me and telling me this, because I can see beautiful art here, but it would be very difficult and very complicated, or maybe even impossible with this mural to net the real background story. I also love how he used a rounded window like a heart. It's like sucking a heart. It's like having a hole in your chest. That is a very subtle, in some way, the element that he incorporated.
Interesting.
So places like this Pink Bar, which is the first Chilean drag queen show bar, one of the first gay or LGBTQ bars, they would be having police raids, even until 1999. And during those police raids, the LGBT community, the drag queens, were beaten, mistreated, etc. So there were no rights. And it was rejected. They were rejected by society because it was a crime, it was immoral. People used to be very Catholic here and very conservative. And that has changed. So much that in 2021 we got equal marriage.
Okay.
So things have changed a lot.
It's great.
But there's a very interesting story about a horrible crime that happened. It is the story of Daniel Zamudio. He was a 27 years old gay man that used to be coming to this area, to Bellavista, to have parties, to date with men, to have drinks. He was not an angel nor a saint. He was just like one of us, like any person. He liked drinks, he liked dates, he liked party. He came from a dysfunctional family where his parents never really accepted him. He was working on retail and tried to make a living. One Friday afternoon, he decided not to go to one of his friends' house to go party. So he came to Bellavista. And he visited a couple of clubs and had a lot of drinks. So he ended up walking towards the Alameda, the historical center, the San Borja Park, a public park. Like midnight, 1 a.m. in the morning, he met 4 horrible people. 4 guys related to homophobic organizations, Nazi organizations, neo-Nazi organizations, and homophobic organizations. It is unclear how they attracted him, started flirting, tried to befriend him, but the idea is that since he was already drunk, giving him more alcohol, so he could be completely blacked out or passed away. And when he was really drunk, after accepting the alcohol and all that, they started beating him with such cruelty, with such violence that we have never seen. So basically, they grabbed a huge rock and they broke his head with that rock. Then they broke both of his legs, both of his arms. They beat on him, they urinated him. Then they burned him with cigarettes, and then with a broken glass bottle, they tattooed a swastika at his chest and in his back. And he was so much brutally beaten that he was left unconscious, agonizing in that park. He was found at 4 a.m. in the morning by a guard of the park and rushed into a nearby hospital. When this got to the news in the early morning, people were shocked. And people, for the very first time ever, started talking live on TV, midday, tea time, straight families, grandmothers, mothers, listening about that, a hate crime. And people were like, no, this is not okay. This is unacceptable. So they started gathering outside of that hospital, lighting up candles and praying for his life. But unfortunately, he didn't make it. And that moved the Congress and the president to immediately create an anti-discrimination law. That was the beginning of all of the anti-discrimination laws that made our country change their minds and think and say, it's not okay. It's not okay to beat someone, to kill someone because of the color of their skin, their gender, sexuality, sexual orientation, or for being indigenous. We don't want that. Okay? In 2018, it features two different artists, two women. The one to the right, one of my favorite overall artists, Stefania Layton from Santiago. And to the left, Jocelyn Anís Arenas from Valparaíso, or Jocelyn Anís Pintora. In 2018, it was very new in terms of age, all the street art in the city. So they were kind of like pioneers in terms of doing a bold statement about women, empowerment, female power, female empowerment. And in this mural, they are trying to give the message, the strong message, that women are beautiful when they embrace themselves as they are. So Steffi is going for like a brown skin, mixed skin woman that represents an indigenous woman. If we take a closer look, we're going to realize that she's naked. So she's embracing her own body, her own shape, with big toes. She has the hands of a worker and more or less the face of an indigenous.
Right.
So it's a real beauty that goes in the opposite direction of traditional beauty standards. Like from the 1990s, very thin, tall, blonde, blue-eyed, straight, blonde hair models. Instead, she is stating that women are beautiful and they find their inner beauty, their real beauty, when they embrace themselves as they are.
Awesome.
Then Anís is doing more or less the same. So back in the day, in that era, she was exploring these purple faces with stripes, and it's a compilation of different elements that are making references to indigenous people, to natives around the world. And she incorporated the ancient axe. At first, it may look like it has nothing to do with us because we don't really have like Asian eyes here in Santiago or in general in our country. But it's a reference to the indigenous from the north, the Atacameño Licarantay, and the Aymara people from the north of Chile, which is a culture that is shared with Bolivia and with Peru, the Andes culture, the Andes mountains. And there they have this sort of Asian eyes. So it's a homage, again, to the real beauty when we go to our roots, when we accept ourselves, and we, instead of saying no to our roots, women are embracing their origins, their true origins. All these murals, they have to represent the identity of the neighbor in three ways. First of all, children. Why? Because these are children that are inspired by real children that live inside of the building. And for Giovanni, they represent the past, the present, and the future of the neighborhood. Then he also decided in this side to represent the identity of the neighborhood with a cat, representing the two most important pets in this area, the dogs. We already saw a dog, which is very representative of dog owners in this area, and the cat lovers. And actually, this is a cat that is part of two cats that live inside of the building. It's a real cat that I have seen. So it's a black cat.
It's a real cat?
And the gray cat, yes.
Oh my God, what's the cat's name?
I don't know. That's a really good. I don't know the cat, but I have seen it twice, and I also have seen the black cat. And if we move toward this side, so from here we can see the rest of the mural. He's representing an androgynous character. He told me that he wanted to represent the diversity of the neighborhood through a character that could be a boy or a girl, which is kind of like androgynous. Then, in that corner, that's the house of Gonzalo. That's where he lives.
Oh, okay.
He runs the second level where he lives with his 4 cats.
Oh, wow.
And that's an old mural from him. 2016, also one of the oldest in the area, and one of the murals that he wants to renovate because it's already very cracked, faded, etc.
Yeah.
Here is another mural by Gonzalo that is dating back to 2017, which I also love. I think it looks really, really good, even though it's 2017. It has been never really vandalized. It has been touched up a couple of times by him, but a few years ago. And I really love this dynamic again of going with the man, the woman, and the old aura. I asked Gonzalo, why did you change your aura? And he was like, because I think it's very unique. And he was like, I was never really confident. Sometimes when I was finishing my murals, I didn't like how it turned out.
No?
So that's why I decided to go for a different aura. And I think that this aura is really, really interesting because I haven't seen something like that in any other artist.
Wow.
And
Amazing. Look at this.
Is the new mural that Gonzalo is saying.
Jeez, no wonder he can't finish the other one.
And this is his workshop. So first and second window, second level, that's where he works. So his Mac, his laptop, a huge collection of spray cans is there. This is very interesting because this tells a story of Bellavista. And as you can see, that's James Murowski, another artist, the one with the red shorts.
Yeah.
He lives in the third window with Gonzalo. And in this part, which is not yet completed, we can see two interesting things. We can see the fresh markets, the vegetables and fruit markets, which has always been an important part of this area. And many families, many immigrants, many natives, indigenous, and many people that configured and established this neighborhood, and until today, living from that. Personalities and sides of our personality. Amazing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Talent.
Yeah.
Amazing.
A full mural, at least in this area, made with mosaic. We have a couple of them around the city. I wish I could, they're scattered around the city. I wish I could put all those murals together for a tour, but unfortunately we can't. And this is Paula Guerra, 2017, 2018. She's a Mexican Chilean teacher. So she was hosting a group of workshops, and this is the result of the workshops and her students.
Good.
She got connected with the community, so they created this giant mural and a few more on the other side. For me, it's really interesting because of several things. I really love the use of glass. So, mirror. So at some point, this mirror, glass and mirror, you can be reflected, so you are kind of like giving not only depth.
You're part of it too, almost.
Part of it. It's kind of like absorbed.
You're part of it. Yeah.
Second, I think that these communitary works are really fantastic because it doesn't have to be perfect. So at some point you can see the faces, like the style, there's a dog, and there's a freedom to do things. And third is that nothing has to be perfect. So I love the person that said, I'm not going to be cutting tiles.
No, just the whole
thing.
The whole tile.
Another one.
That's so funny.
And then
lazy.
These little elements, and you can see how imperfect it is. And then look at that one.
Yeah.
There's like a hidden city over here too, right? That isn't really discovered. It's really interesting. So I have participated since 2023 in different workshops for different things. I have done a semester for oil painting. I have participated in the creation of 2 murals. We painted a mural with stencil. So we had a semester of a stencil with a local artist, and we painted a huge mural based in stencil at the local library of the district relic, the public library. And I also participated in 2 projects for creating this type of murals and decorations for the House of Culture of Santiago using mosaic.
Nice.
And it was really, really fantastic. At some point it's therapeutic, and I definitely recommend that anyone should do it. Anyone can try it once in their life to do mosaic. Something really beautiful. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't put so much pressure on yourself.
Anyone can do art. You can really find a way to express yourself.
I agree.
And you don't need to be perfect.
I agree.
And today it's a boutique hotel.
Oh, cool.
To be near the nearby areas, connected with art, get to explore the city, close to the historical center so they can walk, instead of staying in Providencia, which is like far away.
It's out there.
Or they would definitely stay in fancy hotels like the W. This is a wonderful creation. This was painted 1.5 months ago, so it's brand new. This is Cardo Maleza. Cardo. In English, the flower is threesome. which is that flower over there. That's the nickname,
Yeah.
or his name, Frizzle, Cardo. So basically, Cardo is joined by Niña Agua and Macro, two other graffitiers that are helping him to portray this beautiful portrayal of the identity of the neighborhood. It's really interesting, this commercial approach, because this is a commercial mural. Cardo has family in Mexico, so he is Chilean, but he spends half of the year or very frequently complete seasons in Mexico. So he's doing workshops in Mexico, but also workshops here. And since he's living in both countries and visiting and spending time in both countries, he has been deeply influenced by the Mexican scene. So that's why we can see this very particular color palette and style, different from other artists that we have seen today. He is approaching the land of the poets, poesía, not really addressing Neruda, but taking into consideration that Neruda is not the only poet and not the only Chilean writer. We have Gabriela Mistral, Nobel Prize of Literature 1943, the first Latin American woman to get the Nobel Prize of Literature, and also considered one of the finest women in literature. And I could name you many more, like, for example, Isabel Allende, very famous writer, María Luisa Bombal, Vicente Huidobro, Pablo de Roca, etc., etc., etc. So if you are into the Chilean literature, it's a huge world. So he's addressing a book, with poet. Then the grapes and the wine, resembling the very important wine industry in our country, as I was mentioning, with white and red wine options. The cable car, the Andes Mountains, once again, Virgin Mary, an icon of the neighborhood. And I love how Niña Agua and Macro approached the Andes Mountains, the city full, surrounded by mountains with a modern look of Santiago's skyline. Then we have city birds, the Cachudito, and this one also, and also Jan Carl, he's again portraying several interesting things. The long coastline of Chile, this very thin and long country, the longest country in the world, with the Pacific Ocean, the love for the ocean that Neruda had, but again, not addressing the face of Neruda or Neruda directly, but that message in a bottle, which is kind of like a ship in a bottle, the exports of Chile also represented there, and finally, all the seafood that comes from our ocean. So there's a lot of seafood that goes from the north, the center, the south, and the coastline of our beautiful country. And I also really love how he's using this outer layer of dripping. It's made out of on purpose. So he has a layer at some point where he's tracing, but at the same time he's bleeding the colors, which gives a very unique kind of like antique feeling to his mural, which is kind of like a trademark in his murals. Amazing.
Very
It's
cheap.
definitely, this is
Brand
one of
new.
my favorite ones. Brand new, showing how murals and how the street art is something that is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So murals are being painted, murals are being renewed, they are appearing, disappearing. At least 2 or 3 murals per year will disappear, at least a couple of them. But a couple more will be painted, and more are added to a neighborhood that is very famous for being not only the place for all these artists, poets, writers, etc., actors to live, but also a neighborhood that has always been open-minded, resembling this modern vision of our society. So from the beginning, we started seeing murals. We know from Gonzalo, the different techniques, the whole stories behind different murals, different artists. We saw the colorful ones, and how the identity of the neighborhood is built on this, and how this is a very interesting part, a valuable part of the neighborhood in terms of the identity and the representation of the heritage of the neighborhood too.
Amazing.
So
What neighborhood?
this is the final mural for today, and also the end of the tour. How was your experience today?
10 out of 10.
I'm happy to hear.
11 out of 10.
Wonderful.
I will recommend to everyone back home.
I'm
Wake
happy
up to
to hear
Santiago.
that. Thank you very much. Happy to hear that. It's always my pleasure to host all of these tours and also see the non-touristy side of Santiago represented here in this very, very alive neighborhood like Bellavista.
Yeah,
Fantastic example of the local art in our city.
absolutely. One of a kind.
I'm happy that you like it, and all my pleasure.
One of a kind. Yeah.
Love it, and I truly enjoy this tour. And I don't care if it's just one person.
Yeah.
I would ride a bus over there. So.
Yeah. Okay, gracias.
very much.
Gracias.
Oh, my pleasure.
Alejandro. Gracias. Okay. Ciao. Amazing tour, guys. Adios.